their goals, envisioning their goals, visualizing where they want to be, and then actually helping them get there. So through trials and tribulations, I found coaching as a really powerful tool, and I decided to make it my life's work. And that's why I fully stepped into it. So now I work with businesses, with individuals, with women of color, anyone who's looking to reach a particular goal. And a lot of my clients come to me because they're looking for clarity, especially right now at the beginning of the year, right? They're like, Wendy, I don't know exactly what it is I want to have happen. I have a little bit of an idea, or I just know I don't want life to look exactly the way it looks right now. I want something different, more, better, or a transformation in some area of my life, but I haven't quite figured it out. And so I help them gain clarity. So one of your goals can be, I want to get clear on what I want. And sometimes women come to me and they're very clear on exactly what they want. They just haven't put the map into action. They haven't put the action plan into implementation phase. And I like to say I'm an expert at implementation. I'm an expert at the meat of the sandwich, right? That middle part of goal setting. The beginning is planning. That's like the bread. The first piece of the bread is planning. The meat is the implementation, execution of the plan part. And then that last piece of bread is like the evaluation, right? What you do at the end. So you plan, you execute, and then you evaluate. Most of us completely forget about evaluation.
Yes.
But out of the three, the hardest part, and up to a certain extent, most important, is this implementation action part that happens in the middle. And a lot of people get lost in that, right? They either come up against a challenge and they give up, or something goes astray, or they get distracted, and then they don't end up consistently sticking to their plan. Yeah. So I'm an execution implementation specialist.
Awesome. That's awesome thing. And you know, Wendy, it's you put it in such an eloquent way. And I usually tell people individual goal setting is similar to strategic planning for organizations. It's like know where you are, know where you want to go, how to fill the gap, and then how you got there. And filling the gap is basically what you're saying, is the implementing, the execution. And people think, oh, I know, I can. And people don't understand that this is the hardest part of the whole equation. You know, so, and I know that you have been doing great work. I heard that I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but I know that you have been contacted by big organizations to do that for them. So it's up to you to spill the beans or not yet.
I could definitely spill the beans, because I'll be spilling the beans to everybody on Monday anyways. I'll be announcing it. Yeah. So I get contacts sometimes through my website, right, where people send me messages, and I do actually read those myself, the majority of those. And so most of those are usually, sales, or you get a lot of spam. And at the end of December, at the end of 2020, I got an email that said possible NASA speaking opportunity. And I read it and said, NASA? What? This has got to be spam. This has got to be somebody trying to convince me of something that's, in some country abroad that's trying to do some sort of, nefarious activity, right? This can't be legitimate. But then the lady contacted me through LinkedIn, and then contacted me through Instagram. And it turned out to be legitimate. This beautiful woman from the Inclusion and Diversity Office, who runs a cohort for parents who used to bring their kids to the NASA Child Care Center, parents who work for NASA that now have their kids at home with them and are really struggling to set goals from a parent perspective, right? What do you do as a parent with children when you're looking at setting goals for the year, for yourself even, especially professionals that, we have goals for ourselves that we want to realize, right? Yes. Goals that we used to work on by leaving our kids at the childcare center and then going and working in our career. So yes, I'm actually going to be speaking with NASA next week, actually, end of January.
Yeah.
An amazing group of parents. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Awesome. That is awesome. I mean, your success is awesome. So our podcast, Wendy, is about how to reinvent yourself. And like you said, through tribulations and through trials and errors, you got where you are today. And I'm sure that you went through challenges and obstacles. And what we do in our podcast is to show people that life is never easy, but we choose the path, no matter how complicated or how difficult to it, that will lead us to whatever we define as success. So my first question to you is, how do you define success?
That's a great question, Sahar. I love this question. How do I define success? Because success is so different for all of us, right? So for me, success is continued growth. Taking myself on every year, taking myself to that next level. So growing more, and I believe growing more into who I really am,
Yes.
right? So getting rid of all the stuff that's in the way, which tend to be the limiting beliefs
Yes.
or the beliefs that I've put on myself for whatever reason, from experiences in my childhood or whatnot, that no longer serve me, that maybe served me for a long time, but no longer serve me in expanding and growing in the following years. So growth is the definition of success. If I'm continuously growing, which to me means becoming more myself, right? It doesn't necessarily mean making more money or having a bigger house or even having a bigger impact. It means becoming clear on who I am and taking away the veil that sometimes stands between me and what I really want. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
continuing to grow. Yeah.
Do you think, as we are women of color, do you think we have maybe not the healthiest relationship with money as a part of our limiting belief?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I really see it in my clients, and I see it in myself too. I see it a lot of times with my clients in how much they're willing to charge or not charge for certain experiences, for a certain value that they bring to the world, right? Whether it's a product or not, especially with my business clients, if they're selling a particular product, they're not willing to take as many risks. And there is this belief that somehow, oh, well, our population, I say that in quotes, won't be able to afford that. So I'm going to, back up. And then I remind people, I think it's so interesting because especially even in the woman of color category in life, women spend money on a bunch of things.
Yes.
I think, is it really worth? So how are they getting money? Lashes are, $300 to $500 to get your, eyelashes done. Where's those $300 to $500 coming from?
Yes.
Getting your eyebrows done. I see all these beautiful women with gorgeous eyebrows. And, when I start asking, how much were the eyebrows? And they're like, oh, micro something. I don't even know all the verbiage around what you do, but those are thousands of dollars spent on how we physically look. So do we have a limiting belief around money? Right? With certain things we do, with other things we don't. And I think particularly in the Latinx community, we do have a limiting belief around money when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to spending money on our own self-care in terms of our mental health. So therapists, coaches, counselors, spending money on that, I think still has a negative stigma. Like, oh, that's only for rich people, or who can afford to see a psychologist? But we will go spend $500 on getting our nails done, right? We will spend money on our eyelashes and eyebrows and hair and all that. And even in the, Black African-American community, the amount of money that those women spend on their hair, wow, right? And you might say that that's a necessity, but you could create a part-time job with the amount of money that you spend on hair. So again, it's, do we have a issue with money, or is it how we choose to spend our money, right? I think that's an interesting question within that idea of limiting belief around money.
Wendy, when I started my business, when someone would ask me, like, how much do you charge? I had an actual issue to tell them how much I charge. And I would feel like the blood is rushing to my head, and I would feel like starting to get warm, and I wouldn't know. And I want them to like me, and I want them to hire me. And I realized later on that whatever I'm charging is not only the time I'm giving them, but it's also all these years that I spent educating myself, going through schools, paying for all these courses, my blood, tears, and sweat, if you want to call it, because this is what you bring to the table, and I found out that we come from limiting beliefs on that money could be shameful, or money is not good, or money is evil. And we grew up with these ideas. And when I realized that, I changed my life, and I try to help as many women as I can to tell them business and money are not necessarily exclusive to each other. They work together, So again, reinventing yourself, what do you think were the obstacles or challenges that you met in your life that you had to overcome to become you, to become the best version of you? And I know that our best versions are yet to come, but where you are today, how did you reinvent yourself? What pushed you to do that?
Yeah, well, going back to the money thing really quickly, the reinvention when it came to money and getting comfortable asking for larger amounts of money, right, and having it just roll off my tongue, came from really connecting to the impact that I'm making.
Yes.
What is the value that I'm providing, right? What is the impact? How am I impacting people's lives? And one day I actually sat down and I made a list of my top 20 clients and the breakthroughs that they had, the results that they had in their lives. And when I looked at that list and saw, oh my goodness, I've saved marriages, I've helped women double their, income in a year. I've helped women get new businesses started, new ideas started that are going to lead them to millions of dollars. I've helped women find husbands. I looked at the list and I was like, these are valuable impacts that will be with them for the rest of their life. So then I started to reassess, okay, the impact I'm bringing, the value I bring to the table is something that will affect my clients for the rest of their life, because I'm working on their brain and the way they look at things and how they see possibility. So if I'm going to be with you, even if you only do coaching with me for, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, I'm going to be in your brain somewhere for the rest of your life, because you're going to remember, oh yeah, Wendy taught me this. And she said, to look at things from this perspective. And sometimes I teach what I call Wendy brain hacks, which are brain hacks of how to, kind of get your brain to cooperate with you, right? Because the brain does some interesting things. Those tools are going to be with them forever, when they're 50, 60, 70 years old and reinventing themselves for the 20th time in their life, right? So from that perspective, that gave me new awareness of, oh yeah, are you kidding? They should be paying me more than they paid their university, because they're probably going to use the skills I teach them with more value than they did with that. Also looking at my own life, how much has coaching affected my life? Where would I be had I not found this technology of how to make my thoughts, how to choose my thoughts and then make my thoughts a reality, actually have my thoughts connect to my actions and then have my actions lead to new opportunities in my life, right? A new reality, really. You can change your life. It starts with your thoughts first. Had I not learned that and experienced that in my life, how different my life would be, So the value is huge. The technology I have learned through coaching has been so much more valuable for me than any education. Not that education, and I mean formal education, like university. Not that education wasn't valuable, right? I did go to undergrad, I went to graduate school, and I got a master's in urban planning and, did all this work. But compared to the value of learning the coaching technology, yeah, the impact has been 10 times more in learning the coaching technology, which affects all areas of my life.
What do you think was your biggest reinvention that you have ever done in your life?
Wow. Okay. So there's two, because there's not really one main one. So, but there's two big reinventions. One was I tended to follow, in my 20s, I decided I was going to go the path of what my parents kept telling me to do, which was go to school, get a good degree, get a good stable job, because then you're going to have stability in your life and you can, buy a home and have insurance and all of that. So I started down that path, but I always felt a little bit out of place. I had been dealing with depression for a lot of my teenage years and in my 20s, and actually in my early 20s was diagnosed bipolar at one point. And so I would have these moments where I would have tons of energy to get something done. Like I might stay up all night to finish a paper, a 20-page paper that I wrote in 2 days, right? And then I would sleep for 3 days.
Yeah.
To kind of, be able to make up for the energy that I had lost during those 2 days. And then that would continue to happen. And so it became really hard to manage, right? But I pushed through. I started on some medications. I started seeing a therapist, went to graduate school, got my dream job, what I thought was my dream job in the nonprofit world. And I wasn't happy, Sahar. I wasn't happy. I had done everything on the checklist that my mom had said, this is the stuff you got to do. You got to, get the degree, go to graduate school, get the job. I hated commuting in LA traffic. I'm so happy that we don't commute anymore.
I know. Tell me about it.
Right. But back then I was commuting every day. The commuting, I hated the long hours. I didn't feel like I was getting paid what I should be getting paid. And then I would look at my executive director and I asked myself, do I want her life? Do I want her job? Right. I saw her life and I was like, no, this is not the life that I want. I saw her stressed out, lack of ability to spend time with her family or with her kids. So I reinvented myself. I said, there's got to be another way. This is not the life that I want. But I was very committed to helping people, which is why I was in the nonprofit world, right? Because I wanted to do something that made an impact. I wanted to be a change agent in the world in some way. So I knew I had to be doing something I was passionate about, or I wasn't going to be able to do the work. And I had one of those bouts of depression, and my cousin said to me, there's this training I took, and I think you should come to it. It's going to be a little out of the box. It's outside of the norms of like what you're used to in education. And I went to UCLA. So, kind of these formal educational institutions. But I went to the training and it changed my life. It changed my life. I learned this new languaging called coaching, life coaching, transformational work. I discovered personal development, transformational work, because it was more action oriented. It worked for me.
Yeah.
Actually, the technology actually worked for me and I fell in love with the work. And then I left this, nonprofit career that I had started to build. Now, keep in mind, I had invested 7 years of education, tons of student loans and my master's degree, right? Connections in that world. I had invested a lot of time and energy and identity around this was my life. I was going to be this career woman. And I decided to leave all of that to pursue this thing called coaching. And my mom had no idea. My mom was like, what are you talking about? She didn't understand what it was.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, are you going to be like a therapist? And I was like, no, I'm not going to be a therapist. It's a little different. She's like, okay, are you going to go to school now and get a degree for that? And I was like, not quite. I'm going to get a certification, but I'm just going to start working in the industry. So they were shocked. They were like, how do you spend so many years and go get an education and then leave all of that to start this like business doing something that doesn't make any sense? That doesn't, like, people are going to pay you for your opinion? I don't understand, Wendy. She would tell me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, people are going to pay me for, it's not my opinion, right? It's a process that I can walk people through that I have now become an expert at because I did it for myself. I used the technology on myself. And within 10 years, so when I made that transition, I set certain goals for myself. And I said, here's what I want. I want a lifestyle where I control my time, where I have freedom and flexibility for time. I want a family. I want to get married. I want to have children. I knew that, right? I want to be making an impact in the world. I still want to be a change agent in a big way. How do I make that happen, right? And I want to make money. I want to get paid well to do it all. And within 10 years, I had hit all of those goals. I had hit all of those goals and surpassed them. So it works. The coaching works. The technology works if you implement it. And now I'm on fire to try to teach everybody else. Hey, let me teach you this technology because it's fascinating and it really works. You can change your life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that was reinvention number one.
Okay.
You want me to tell you reinvention number 2?
And just before we go to reinvent,
Yeah.
what I'm getting from this story is to tell the reinventors what will really help you is to set goals, because goals will be the blueprint that you're going to follow. It's like building a home. Without those blueprints that you're going to have, that home, first of all, is not going to be built. And if you build it, the first bout of air or a little storm, it will make it crumble. So this is a pure example, a live example, personal example that you can hear and listen and do in your life. Thank you, Wendy. What's your second reinvention?
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that reminder. Yes, it's really important to set goals and set big goals, because for me, I was like, when I reached my goals, I was like, oh, apparently I was aiming too low because I've hit everything on my goal list. So I've got to set higher goals now. Yeah. So my second reinvention was having twins. Dun, dun, dun. So that was the shocker, right? So I met this amazing man. We got married. We decided to, after 5 years of marriage, decided to start having a family. And as most women, especially brown women, we think we're just going to get pregnant like that. We think we're going to get pregnant as soon as we think we want to get pregnant, right? Because we've been trying to avoid it our whole lives. That was not my story, right? I was in my mid 30s. I was a little bit older. And so even with my first pregnancy, it was difficult to get pregnant. But I was able to get pregnant with my daughter, Vivily. We had my daughter. And then I wanted a second child. And we kept trying, and it wasn't working. So I ended up going the fertility route. And we actually did an IUI, an in uterine insemination. And through the process of doing that, first of all, it was one of the toughest times of my life. So for any of you women out there that are going through that right now, my heart goes out to you, because just the drugs alone that you're putting into your system, the hormones and what it does to yourself, your energy levels, your mood swings, right? And then what it does to your partner in terms of your marriage or your relationship, it was a challenging time. And some women go through 5-6 cycles of IVF, IUIs, they go over and over again. So with us, we were really in it for about 4 months. So it happened pretty quickly. We were in it for about 4 months. We did the IUI. Because I hadn't been able to get pregnant for a year, I was very much thinking, oh, forget it. It's, chances are very low that we're going to get pregnant. I think the doctor even told us it was like 9%, because they couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting pregnant. There was no real reason. And long and behold, here we go. We get pregnant with twins. And I'll never forget the moment in the office when, you go in, because I had taken the pregnancy test. I was pregnant. So we went in for the ultrasound, and the doctor's like, okay. And here we go. Let's see. Okay. I see a sac. Okay. So here's baby A. And my eyes pop up and I'm like, baby A? And he's like, yeah. And here's baby B. What? Baby B? What do you mean baby B? And I literally hit my husband. I remember hitting him as I'm laying in the doctor's chair. I hit my husband. I'm like, did he just say B? And he's like, yeah. And the doctor's like, okay, so you have a baby A and a baby B. So it looks like two babies. I was in denial, Sahar. I was so in denial. I was like, I can't have 2 babies, because I already had one and I knew how much work one baby was. Now, keep in mind that I've dealt with mental health issues throughout my life, with depression and energy issues and all of that most of my life. Even having one baby was a lot of work for me to manage myself. And now we were going to go from a family of 3 to a family of 5. And we were going to have 2 newborns. I just could see myself. I could see that I wasn't going to sleep for a year. We were going to have to buy a minivan, because how are we going to fit 5 people? I was going to have 3 in diapers and wipies and all of that. I was like, forget it. We're going to go broke and I'm going to be miserable, right? These were the thoughts that entered my head at the very beginning. So we didn't tell anyone. We didn't tell my family, because I was in denial. I didn't really want to face it, that I was having twins, After 4 months, and it was kind of obvious that I was pregnant at this point.
Yes.
I started to tell everyone. And long and behold, it's been the biggest up-leveling of my life, the biggest transformation of my life, because everything went up. Everything, the joy and the pain.
Yeah.
Yes, the excitement and the lack of sleep, everything went tenfold, right? It was like 10 times the life I was living before. And therefore, I made a commitment to myself that, well, if everything's going up, then my business is going up too. Everything's going to get expanded and grow. And we're going to find a way to make it happen. So the love expanded, but you know what else, Sahar? Time expanded.
Yes.
I was able to create a new relationship with time where I was able to manage it all. And I survived. You know, the twins are now 6. They're thriving, Luca and Leia. They're boy and girl twins. And my older one. And everyone's doing well. And my business is thriving. And me and my husband, we had a couple of years where we had to work through some stuff because it's very challenging.
Don't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. People who have twins, I think it's a 50% likelihood you'll get divorced. Couples who have multiples. Yeah. So it's stressful. It's stressful on the emotions of the family. It's stressful on the finances. It's stressful on your mental health. But I found some tools that really worked for me. And I up-leveled my life and was able to make that transformation and that transition.
That's awesome. And reinventors, I don't think you can get more candid and more vulnerable as Wendy just did. And as I always say, the more vulnerable you are, the more self-confident you are, because you do not have problem to show yourself as you are. You're not pretending to be someone else. You're not hiding who you are. You're actually proud with the good, the bad, and the ugly in your life. Because at the end, this is what makes you a great person and get you to your best version. Wendy, before we wrap up, I want you to share with us, what is it that you're working on now?
Yes. So now that I figured out I can do anything, because if I can survive having twins, you know, that's my superpower, right? Then I can really make anything happen, right? I'm on a mission to share the information that worked for me through these last 15 years that I've been in the coaching industry with other women so that they can also transform their lives, reinvent their lives into whatever they want to be. I mean, you can literally be almost anything that you can imagine. You can transform your life into that. One of the things that I'm excited about is I teach a course called the Future Self Experience. And it's an interactive training, virtual training, where you actually get to step into connecting with your future self. The version of you, you know, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. I believe that all of us have inside of us a future self version, right? So there's, you know, Wendy at 55 years old, Wendy at 60 years old, right? Who I'm going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. She's alive in me now. I just don't really think about her or connect with her much. But just like there's a 6-year-old alive in me now, or a 15-year-old version of me alive in me now, and I can stop and connect with her, I can stop and connect with the future version of me also. We just don't tend to do that as often. We don't have a regular practice of that. And one of the most powerful manifestation tools you can use is connecting with that future self and vibrating with her. So in the future self experience, we actually have a process where she and or he comes and visits you and actually gives you insight, coaching, answers questions for how do you get to where you want to be, which is, where's the best place to get coaching? From your future self, from the version of you 10 years from now, right? And the insights that come from her directly to you. So this is a training where we get to step into really owning your future goals and learning the power of vibrating at that energy level of having accomplished your goals. So stepping into having already done it, you know, 5 years from now, when you've done it, you have the house you want, or the husband you're looking for, or the family you want to create, or the business is started and it's thriving now. What does your life look like when the business is thriving? What does your day-to-day look like? Yeah, having accomplished those goals. And I think as reinventors, it's really important to allow yourself to step into the visualization and energy vibration of that, of having done it. That's really important to practice on a regular basis. So the Future Self Experience is a one-day training where we actually get to do that. The next one is February 13th.
Okay.
Super exciting. It's a Saturday. It's all day. It's from 10:30 to 4 p.m. You can find out more information. You can actually register for the training on my website at wendyamara.com. So if you go to wendyamara.com, you can register there, or you can follow me on Instagram at Wendy Amara, and you can go to my link tree and buy tickets there also. Yeah, it's a powerful one-day event. You know, spend the day connecting with your future self. Don't you want to meet her?
How much would it be, Wendy?
So it's $133. That's it. So I'm keeping, very easy. I know, right? $133, which, as you know, is a manifestation number.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, $133 for the day, for an all-day training. It is from 10:30 to 4, but it goes by really fast because it's not sit down and just watch a PowerPoint. It's very interactive. There's things you're going to do, even if you're in your house. There's things you're going to do interacting with your house. And one of the most beautiful parts of it is the women that show up and how we connect with each other.
The tribe, yeah.
Yes, the tribe, exactly. And speaking of tribe, I actually also have a group coaching program called the Inspired Action Tribe. It's a group model coaching program where we hold each other accountable and we support each other in reaching our goals every month. If you sign up for the Inspired Action Tribe, you actually get the Future Self experience for free. So if you're in my group coaching program, you can come to the Future Self experience for free. Yeah.
That is awesome. So people, again, it's www.wendyamara.com. And just to let you know, follow her on Instagram. She has every Wednesday at 5 p.m. a live show on Instagram. So please follow her. They say that a goal is a dream, is just a dream if it doesn't have a deadline and a plan. So she offers you all that. Wendy, before we leave, we are in the few last minutes of this podcast. I want you to leave the Reinventors tribe with some words of wisdom, a code that you believe in, that you live by, that something that you believe in your heart, so you can impact them even more at the end of the podcast.
I think one of the most powerful things I've learned in the transformational work that I've done on myself is that at the end of the day, there's really two places to come from in life. Everything comes down to two viewpoints. Either life is happening to you, and in other words, you're a victim to what happens in life, like things are happening to you, right? You have very little to no control, and you wake up and things are just occurring outside of you that have no connection to you. Or the other possibility is you are responsible for life. You are creating life. And therefore, from the responsibility standpoint, everything in your life, you can change if you want, because you're the creator of it, including all of your relationships. So I think everything boils down to either I'm a victim to life and life is happening to me, or I'm creating life, I'm in the driver's seat and I'm responsible. And all the changes I've made, transformations, reinventions I've had in my life have been from coming into and fully stepping into, I'm 100% responsible for my life.
Absolutely.
All of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the locus of control that we use in the emotional intelligence, right? So, Wendy, I can't thank you enough for being here today. I really enjoyed this, and I know that my reinventors are going to love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad. I love sharing this information.
Absolutely. I do believe that specifically women need to elevate each other. We are never in competition. We are always in collaboration. We have to straighten our crowns for each other. And and I'm so lucky that I have a huge tribe of women around me where we actually elevate each other, not jealousy, not envy, not, oh, if she's going to get that job, I'm not going to get it. We don't have that, which occurs in a lot of other instances. But I'm really happy to have you today. Again, Wendy's website is www.wendyamara.com. My reinventors, thank you so much for being here today. As I always end my podcast, I believe that each one of us have a genius inside of us. I believe that each one of us have a light inside of us that we need to bring to the outside, not only to lighten up our path, but to lighten up the path of everyone that comes after us. Pay it forward, love, support each other, like we do to every woman, to each other, even men and women, we should support each other, elevate each other. I would love if you can join my Facebook group that is very private and exclusive. It's called the Reinvent Yourself Mastermind. So, Wendy, honored to have you today on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Sahar. Thank you for being such an encourager and supporter of women. When you were saying earlier that you really believe in the sisterhood and that as women especially, we get to elevate each other. You are such an example of that. I see you in your work. I see you in what you do and what you've done with me, even in the sharing and the opening up of doors for me. I so appreciate you in my life. I appreciate the work that you're doing, and we get to continue to support each other and be an example for women in other industries, that together we rise. When we support each other, we elevate each other, and then we each rise more also. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
So much. Thank you. Okay, my reinventors, till the next episode, I love you all. This is Sahar and Raji, your host for Reinvent Yourself to Greatness with Sahar podcast. Till next time. Love you all.